It's Tuesday, June 15th, and this is now on HNN. The attorney for the family of a man fatally shot by police in New Oahu releases new video.
There's information missing, but this ring video does provide more information.
New travel rules are now in effect as Hawaii continues to make progress in COVID-19 vaccinations.
In about 10 days, all of the travelers from the mainland should be able to have the same benefit.
A grand reopening is underway in the first state to lock down. I'm Dina Demetrius with a look at California's lifted restrictions.
These stories plus Bruno is headed back to Vegas and adding more shows. Ticket details coming up on This Is Now. The FAA says Southwest airline flights in the U.S. were temporarily suspended today due to another technical issue. Southwest said on Twitter that a system issue created flight disruptions throughout their network. As a result of the technical issue, nearly 500 Southwest flights were canceled today, and more than 1,200 flights were delayed, according to FlightAware. Problems first appeared on Monday, affecting flight operations for Southwest, Delta, and Alaska Airlines. More than 1,500 flights were canceled yesterday, according to the tracking service.
And starting today, those traveling Interisland will no longer need to take a pre-travel COVID test. Sammy Salina has the latest on all the changes.
For inter-island travel, you no longer have to show a vaccine card, get tested, or use the Safe Travels app. That all goes away, and residents and visitors are pretty happy about that.
We planned this trip back in November, so we were preparing to get tested before we went over, and then luckily before we spent some days in Oahu, and before we left we found out about the new regulations, so we were excited.
It was a lot of stress dealing with that, but now it's almost similar to pre-COVID time, where I can catch up with family and friends and just jump on a plane and see them.
We recommend for ease, hang on to your boarding pass or be ready to show it on your phone if you did it electronically, because that boarding pass, you can just show it and you'll be able to exit right out as an inter-island traveler.
Also starting today, those vaccinated in Hawaii traveling back from the mainland can bypass quarantine without a pre-travel test. You just need to have your vaccine card with you and upload proof through the Safe Travels website. The decision came to ease restrictions as the state approached a 55% vaccination rate. When we're at 60% of the population vaccinated, those who receive shots in the U.S. will be able to skip quarantine and testing requirements when traveling from the mainland.
So major milestone today on the 15th, and then in about 10 days, all of the travelers from the mainland should be able to have the same benefit, because we should touch 60%.
And at 70%, the governor said that all of the restrictions and mandates will go away. Sammy Salina for This Is Now.
The attorney for the family of a 29-year-old man killed by police in New Oahu released new video from the night of the shooting in April. The video released today by the attorney for Lindani Mieni's family includes footage from the Ring doorbell of the home in New Oahu, as well as unredacted body cam footage from the city.
Well, you win.
But this new video release is also highly edited to include captions, and the body cam footage is time synced to the doorbell video. The doorbell video recording from April 14th begins at 8:07 p.m. and shows Mieni's car driving behind another car in front of the property. It then shows a couple approaching the building and Mieni following behind. The attorney says he believes Mieni was trying to get to a nearby temple, which is near the home. He said Mieni is wearing a traditional ceremonial Zulu headband that he would typically wear at places like a church or a temple. So the video shows a woman looking back while the South African native can be seen taking off his shoes before entering the building. About 40 seconds later, Mieni exits the home and stands in front of the door as the woman is heard making a phone call.
Hello, someone just follow me breaking into my house and just say something.
According to Mieni's lawyer, she has since stated that was a pretend call to 911.
In front of our door, and she said like.
Though the video stops with Mieni standing outside, the lawyer for the family said Mieni had gone back inside. The woman then actually called police.
Police emergency. Hello, what's your address?
Hello.
What's your address?
Please.
Do you know who they are?
He said he's Linden. He said South Africa.
The dispatcher asked the woman if the man she is calling about is armed or confused, but the woman says no. In the ring video, Mi'ini is heard saying, "What's wrong?"
What's wrong? Sorry. I know you guys. Can I see your phone?
He tried to go outside. I don't know.
After that dialogue, Mi'ini then exits, puts on his shoes, turns around and says sorry.
Sorry.
Shortly after, Honolulu police arrive, responding to this 911 burglary call.
Get on the ground now!
HPD says police body cam video from then shows Mi'ini attacking the officers.
Get on the ground now!
Three officers were injured and one was hospitalized with facial and head injuries after this incident. Questions still remain about how officers identified themselves that night. The video appears to show them only saying police after the shots had been fired.
Police!
Here's more of what law enforcement analyst Tommy Ayu had to say about that.
Police, we should also know that when they arrive on the scene, they are self-identified by the fact that they're in uniform, that they have their badge, that when they come there, they give a lawful order for the suspect to get down on the ground. I think it's important here to understand that when police give a lawful order, it's important for the individual to comply. I think there's concern about de-escalation here. The order to get on the ground is a de-escalation technique, because at that point the officers would just approach, handcuff the individual, and then talk to him, find out what the situation is.
So by law, hypothetically speaking, is it enough to be in uniform with a badge without verbally identifying yourself as a police officer in Hawaii?
Yes. The time when an officer must identify himself is at the time of an arrest. This is not an arrest situation. This is a situation where they're trying to detain, trying to surmise what the situation is. We have information from dispatch that there is a crime in progress. At that point, they want to ascertain who the suspects are, who the victims are. All that has to be done before an arrest is made.
We'll continue to follow this story, bring you updates on later editions of Hawaii News Now, and of course on your H&N digital platforms.
Well, the man shot and killed by Hawaii County Police allegedly fired 30 rounds at officers with 2 semi-automatic rifles. Police tell us the shootout started when Ryan Santos refused to let officers into his Wainaku home. He then started firing shots from the kitchen and balcony. A neighbor told us she hid in her closet and then ran for cover.
And then I heard a gunshot, pam, 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 pam. And then, I thought, fireworks. We went to my daughter's room and then hiding in the closet. The policeman helped us to, stay there. It's safe, yeah.
Some of the rounds fired struck 4 police vehicles, as well as into a neighboring residence.
That was Hawaii County Chief Paul Ferreira speaking. Santos' brother is the one who called 911 to report that Santos had harmed their mother. The chief says Santos should not have had firearms because he's a felon with a record of assault, family abuse, and drugs. Police say Santos' 91-year-old grandfather went into cardiac arrest during the shootout and later died at a hospital.
The Delta variant is now confirmed in Hawaii, but only in one case so far. Officials say a fully vaccinated patient from Oahu tested positive with mild symptoms after returning from a trip to Nevada last month. The Delta strain originated in India. Health officials say it's more infectious and now accounts for about 6% of all new cases on the mainland. Here's the Department of Health's Dr. Sarah Kimball.
I do think that many of the other household contacts being vaccinated also played a role in this not transmitting further. So we have an example here why, even though vaccine is not 100% every time, it's still incredibly important and effective at slowing the spread of even these novel variants.
California was the first state to put in place a coronavirus lockdown. Now the state is turning a new page on the pandemic. Dina Demetrius reports from Los Angeles.
It's a big day in California.
Today has been a long time coming. We've been waiting for this day for so long.
For the first time in 469 days, the state is back open for business.
I'm so happy, and I'm looking around, the people smiles, and it's like it feels good. It feels free.
The state has lifted rules on social distancing and capacity limits everywhere, including restaurants, bars, gyms, and performance venues. Vaccinated people are no longer required to mask up.
It's super exciting for me because I love meeting people. I love getting out there and talking with people. Venice Beach, Santa Monica, downtown, whatever it may be.
Amusement parks like Disneyland can operate pre-pandemic business as usual, and fans can fill the stands to watch their favorite sports teams. Dodger Stadium served as a mass coronavirus testing site, then a mass vaccination site. And tonight, for the first time since 2019, the stadium will operate at full capacity, welcoming 56,000 fans to celebrate the Dodgers' 2020 World Series victory before they take on the Philadelphia Phillies. Once the epicenter of the pandemic, California now has the third lowest positivity rate in the nation. So far, it has administered more than 40 million vaccine doses. The state is spending more than $100 million in incentives for residents to get vaccinated. Governor Gavin Newsom marked the reopening by awarding 10 people $1.5 million each just for getting the shot. While the state is officially open again, businesses still retain the right to keep their pandemic protocols in place. Dina Demetrius, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The owner of Pearl Ridge Center has declared bankruptcy following financial struggles due to the pandemic. Washington Prime Group filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in order to restructure and pay down roughly $3.5 billion in debt. The owner of the popular Oahu Mall said that the closure of retail stores and restaurants, along with stay-at-home orders, significantly impacted business. The Ohio-based company owns more than 100 malls across the country. Currently, all of the malls the company owns will remain open. As more Americans fly again, we're seeing long lines at security checkpoints, and the TSA may not have enough staff to keep up. Errol Barnett explains.
American air travelers are hitting pandemic peaks, but across the country there's proof of a security staffing shortage.
It was long and slow.
Like, this is crazy.
According to a TSA memo obtained by the Washington Post, 235 airports are currently understaffed, including some of the nation's busiest, like Boston Logan, Denver International, and Washington Dulles, with some airports short as many as 100 officers.
So it's a long process in getting an employee ready to screen passengers for their safety.
Heydrich Thomas is the president of the TSA Officers Union and is skeptical the agency will hit its hiring target.
So why do you think the TSA won't hit its benchmark?
Right now, there's not too many people applying for this job, maybe because of the pay. They look at other federal agencies and compare the pay.
The TSA says it is, quote, well positioned to meet rising traveler volumes and is on pace with established benchmarks to meet hiring goals. Now, part of its recruitment pitch includes a $1,000 incentive for new hires. Over the weekend, passenger screenings at TSA checkpoints were at about 77% of their pre-pandemic levels, and it's only expected to push higher.
The recovery in leisure travel demand is taking almost anyone in the airline industry by surprise.
Travel industry analyst Henry Hardevelt says while more TSA staff are certainly needed, airline schedules are also part of the problem.
You can only travel when the airlines have flights going. And if they have flights leaving at 7 in the morning and 7 p.m., then that's when you go. And guess what? If all the other flights are leaving at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., then there's going to be a bottleneck. Everybody just needs to pack a little patience as they go to the airport this summer.
Very important advice right there. Now, the TSA is offering an additional $500 bonus to existing security agents who work overtime and on their days off. But the union rep we spoke with, Mr. Thomas, told me that even that is not enough. Errol Barnett, CBS News at Reagan National Airport.
And moments ago, the Hawaii Department of Health released the latest statistics on the pandemic here in the state. 37 new cases reported today with no new deaths. For a county-by-county breakdown, head to hawaiinewsnow.com.
All right, going to take you out live to downtown there. You see Aloha Tower, as we normally do at this noon hour. But we were just talking about that sunset last night. Whoa.
Stunning.
Killer, right? Killer.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, let's see what the weather is shaping up to be. I know there's a chance for rain out there. So here's Guy Hoggy.
And those trade winds should run pretty firm today from Maui to Kauai, about 15 to 20 miles an hour. Lighter, of course, for the Kona side of the Big Island, so it's going to be a little steamy there. Most of the state won't see a whole lot of rain, but look for a few more showers this afternoon for Kauai and Oahu, likely to linger through tomorrow. And those winds are going to be running pretty swift today at 15 to 20 miles an hour, and those winds will hang on through tomorrow. And then we're going to see a little bit of surf in the country. It's not a big swell by any stretch, but it came up yesterday in the afternoon. Maybe some shoulder high sets today, maybe a little bit smaller in town. But for the South Shore, you can expect a big swell coming in over the weekend, which could trigger a high surf advisory. Keep your fingers crossed because it's not a guarantee just yet. So again, breezy conditions, fairly dry for most of the state with increasing showers for Kauai and Oahu tonight through tomorrow. Drier again on Thursday, and then we'll see a few more Windward and Mauka showers heading into the weekend. Keep it here on Hawaii News Now. We'll have all your severe weather updates.
Fashion may fade, but comfort, it's eternal. The CEO of LL Bean just talked to CNN about consumers returning to the workplace and what they're wearing.
We're definitely seeing people start to get ready to travel. So we're seeing swimwear, duffel bags, which typically indicate sort of weekend travel and driving, beach tents, things like that, as people are starting to venture out. And then for sure, people are starting to clean themselves up a bit. And whether it's returning to the office, going out to eat, going over to friends' houses. And as you said, we've seen a fantastic pop of really simply things with buttons and zippers and men's polo shirts, men's chinos, denim.
Okay, but how do you create a new fashion for those going back to the office? If we accept that the future will not be like the past, unless you're like me and wear pinstripes, which we've talked about before, but how do you generate a new fashion that is more casual and more in tune with a post-pandemic employee?
There's a lot of little hidden technologies in casual and work clothes right now. And I'd say people are dressing up, but they're not giving up on comfort because they've had comfort for the past 15 months with the clothing. So we are seeing we're putting stretch into our Oxfords, stretch into our denim, our chinos have stretch. So all of those, you can have a comfort waistband, or you can have a little bit of stretch and flex. Your size may have changed a little bit through COVID. And that is allowing the clothes to be more comfortable, more active if you're doing things, but also allows you to look, cleaned up and ready to go to work.
And Stephen, the competition is extraordinary in apparel, but some didn't make it. Obviously, there were many who just couldn't make it. And this balance between bricks and mortar and online has been accelerated hugely.
Yeah.
Do you still see a major role for going out shopping in a bricks and mortar?
We do, and it's really interesting. 2020, the brands like ours and many others that were omni-channel and had really big e-commerce businesses, we fared well with able to flex channels from bricks and mortar to e-com. What we're seeing right now in 21, each month, store traffic is growing dramatically, and we are very close to our 2019 bricks and mortar store sales numbers, and traffic is only down 11% from 2019. So people they want to get out of their houses. Products that we sell, a lot of our gear and a lot of our performance products, people want to touch them. They want to feel them. They've been isolated for quite a long time. So we do still see a role for bricks and mortar. I think you have to be very efficient. You have to be very technology oriented so that you can meet a customer wherever they want to shop. But there absolutely is a role for bricks and mortar as well as e-com.
All right, thanks for that update from CNN.
So what he's saying is get rid of the sweats now, right?
No way.
Get rid of the elastic home shorts now, right? Move on, get back to the office.
I know. I will miss my shorts. You guys, we got some big celebrity news to talk about. We're talking about Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, two of America's favorite twins. I was just talking to our intern, Lauren. Why don't we ever say Ashley and Mary-Kate? I don't know. But Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen just gave a very rare magazine interview with ID Magazine. And they say they've lived a discreet life because of the way they were raised. You know, the former child stars are best known for their work on Full House. You know, everyone knows that show. And they rarely do interviews. And they're not really on social media. So to watch this interview, again, or listen to it, read it, it's in ID Magazine. It's also to honor their 15th anniversary in their fashion business. They have a fashion line that they've had for 15 years now.
Yeah, and I was wondering about that because when I saw this story, I was like, oh, because you see Full House and you see the reruns over and over, but come to think of it, yeah, they actually haven't given that many interviews. So yeah, interesting to see.
I'd check it out.
Yeah, worth checking out.
More celeb stuff, right?
Something else to take a look at. Bretman Rock, social media superstar, Eva Beach native, has landed a new series. 30 Days with Bretman Rock is a 4-part documentary series that will follow him for a week through the jungle. It's going to put his survival skills to the test. It debuts at the end of the month on YouTube, and this is fresh off of his MTV reality series. So, very busy calendar for Bretman Rock.
Yeah, I've interviewed him before. Great guy there.
Yeah,
One more quick celeb news. Bruno update, right?
Yeah, speaking of superstars, right? He's adding more shows in Las Vegas. This after all 6 of his July concerts sold out right away. The 24K Magic singer added 4 more shows at Park MGM on July 30th, 31st, and in the middle of August. Tickets go on sale this Friday on Ticketmaster.com, and don't be surprised if they all sell out within minutes.
Certainly. But it could be our chance to finally see Bruno. All right, guys. Jim Mendoza did this awesome story on this Radford High School graduate who found a very unique way to get to school. Let's check it out.
This was Jonah Lee's daily mode of transportation. The ride that carried him to school wasn't a car or a bicycle. He paddled a kayak.
After I tried it a few times, I was like, okay, this is actually really cool. And then I was super pumped and then excited and able to tell other people that, you know, this is what I do. I kayak to school.
It took about 10 minutes to cross the half-mile from his home on Ford Island to Pearl Harbor Hickam, where he caught a ride with a friend to Radford High School. But instead of traffic and brake lights, he saw sunrises and sea turtles.
You see all sorts of things from some submarines to ships, aircraft carriers, transport vessels.
Kayak commuting runs in the Lee family. His father, Benjamin, is a family physician with the Navy who kayaks to his job.
So I bike to this Iroquois point right behind us, and then I kayak over, and then I bike to my work.
In the morning, Jonah crossed the channel on his way to school, then back again to get home in the evening.
Some people are like, what happens if it rains? And I'm just like, if it rains, I get wet.
He started doing this in his junior year and just kept going. He did capsize once.
I was able to get back on my kayak and hobble back to the dock all soaking wet. And luckily I carry a waterproof bag, and so all my, devices and electronics and things were safe.
Jonah was on the track and swim teams at Radford, so the kayaking helped his physical fitness. He just graduated, and now he's off to the Coast Guard Academy to pursue a degree in mechanical engineering. He says he'll miss his kayak rides.
It's definitely one of the best commutes I've ever had, for sure.
Someday he can tell his kids, you know how I got to school? Jim Mendoza, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Jim Mendoza. Don't forget, he has a podcast. You can find it anywhere you find your podcast. Tell Me a Story with Jim Mendoza. That's it for This Is Now. We'll see you tomorrow.